It's the Brain and Moham Show. It's the Brain and Moham Show. Brain and Moham Show. It's the Brain and Moham
Show. Biden even shows as his running mate the most liberal senator in America. Kamala. Senator Kamala Harris. Democrat. Kamala.
If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing
What's going on? This is the Brain and Moham Show.
If you are under the age of
I'm Mohammed El-Darwish.
And I am Brain Mountain.
And we are casting today. It is the 7th of January 2021. We did it, bitches. We survived.
We survived 2020, and now we're all gonna fucking die.
Take a deep breath and inhale that sweet 2021 air.
Oh, inhale the death. The imminent fear of just everything ending.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I love it. I'm so glad that 2020 is over. 2021 cannot possibly be worse. This is cheap, easy peasy.
The year changing has nothing to do with the world environment.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. So, nothing really has happened since our last episode, right?
Oh yeah, nothing at all.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. I mean, there was not anything, especially in the past few days, that happened at all that we need to talk about.
Right.
Nothing.
So what didn't happen? Let's see here. Well, Trump lost the November election, of course, which prompted us to just go absolutely berserk, and we couldn't even record an episode. We were just fucking needed to process that shit.
We were too busy planning not to storm the Capitol.
Yeah. Oh my God. I got to tell you something. I actually had a person at where I work who overheard a conversation that a couple of people were having about the election, and she came up and she said, you know, Trump won already, and they're just the news is saying that it's not over yet because they're trying to stop the riots and the violence. And I'm like, that's interesting, because I'm so left, I'm leaning over sideways, and I'm not planning any violence, and I don't know anyone who is.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I jokingly said something like, how they're gonna blame this all on the Democrats.
Yeah, no.
Look what the Democrats did to Washington.
Right. I promised that woman. I said, I promise you, there will be absolutely no violence if Trump wins from the left.
Right. The only violence has come from Trump's side.
Right. They want to say that Black Lives Matter did the same thing, but I mean, this is different when you're talking about the halls of Congress and trying to interrupt a democratic process, transfer of power. It's not the same. They were the BLM protests burnt some buildings that were not of the same significance as our Capitol.
Right. The Capitol. They invaded the Capitol building, right? It was the Capitol building.
They put that was one of the worst things that's ever happened in our country, ever. It's so absolutely horrifying and humiliating.
You know, they see it as a revolution. And yes,
it's like the most lamest revolution, most pathetic.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Little man baby revolution.
I believe that the American people should be able to overthrow an unjust government, but these people are trying to use that citizen right to withhold an unjust government,
they have
to overthrow
no
a just government.
That's literally their problem. They have no message. The message is, they believe
we like Trump.
Yeah,
that's it.
They believe that whatever Trump said is true, even though Trump has contradicted himself over and over and over. He contradicted himself in his last statement. He said, "You're very special. We love you, but it's time to go home." Even though he said before that, he said, "This is a horrible thing that happened to us, but and we won by a lot, but I want you to go home." He's sending the wrong, so when you watch him, you get to think oh, this is a horrible thing that happened to him. I should do something about this. And he doesn't have to say do something about this. He makes people want to do something about it with what he says.
Right. Yeah, he basically invoked that whole
Incited
that whole
Yeah.
thing.
So what else happened? Let me think here real quick. So there was a runoff election in Georgia. Do you hear about that?
You told me about it, but I don't know really about it, as you know.
Well, just to recap, in Georgia...
I know what the man looks like.
Yeah. Just to recap here, in Georgia, in the November general election, you have to, in their state, you have to win by 50% or more. Otherwise, it goes to a runoff. Their primary, or I'm sorry, their election...
Is a runoff like a tie?
Well, no. Their election is like a jungle primary. Like, they allow multiple people to run. So there's multiple Republicans and multiple Democrats all running. So if someone wins 50% or more, they win. But if nobody makes 50%, the top two go into a head-to-head match.
Okay. So it's like a...
That's what they call a runoff.
Right. I'm just comparing it to like a game, like, to me, that's like overtime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It's overtime. And so they went to overtime there, and it was with two, not one, but two elections there. Democrats won them both. I mean, everyone knows of that at this point. I knew about it that night, before they called it. I saw the New York Times upshot had Warnock super favored, and then it had Ossoff slightly favored, and I knew that if one wins, the other's coming with them. And the thing they were saying was that even though it was super close, the votes that came in at the very end were all the mail-in ballot absentee ballots, which are heavily Democratic, and they were from areas like Atlanta and Savannah that had heavily Democratic portions of the vote. Same thing as what happened in the election. Remember that shit?
Yes. All kinds of crazy shit.
But this couldn't be better news, and this couldn't be more incredible. Like, I'm so happy I get to... Oh, my God, this is so great. I feel like it was just yesterday when we had nothing. When we had nothing, and it looked like Trump might have been winning re-election.
They won everything, right?
They won everything now. We can take a deep breath here. So they'll have a 50-50 tie in the Senate, which will allow Vice President Kamala, who we had that beautiful song. Oh yeah, that's right. So that song from the intro there is by an artist named Jethro Bradley. Go check him out on SoundCloud.
Yes, do that, please.
Yeah, and
he made a wonderful track.
Yeah, and he's got some other funny ones too.
You'll hear more of it at the end.
What was I saying? So Kamala Harris would be the tie-breaking vote, which would allow Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. It would allow Chuck Schumer to become Senate Majority Leader, and Mitch McConnell, who's been the Majority Leader for a long time now, he will become the Minority Leader. Do you know what this means, Brain?
Mitch won't be able to fuck shit up anymore.
Right. For the last 6 for the last 6 years, Mitch McConnell has anything that would be good for our country, anything that the moderate or liberal or progressive people
just pooped on it.
He didn't allow them to vote on it.
Pooped right on it.
He didn't allow them to even come for a vote. Anything that he didn't support didn't even come for a vote. Now they will be able to vote on many things, and I'll tell you one thing: $2,000 checks. If they do another stimulus and they vote to do $2,000 checks, they have the votes.
Yeah.
If they...
What about, because I already got the $600 stimulus. Is there going to be another one?
Well, yeah, I think they're anticipating... I mean, now that Democrats took control, I'm pretty sure they want to pass... They wanted to pass 2,000, right? So they owe us how much? 1,400. That's not they owe us, but they would want to give us at least that much. I mean, already they're on record.
Yeah.
Saying they would have thought that would have been more substantial and better. Yeah, 600? Jeez.
I was also thinking...
it's been a long time since we've had relief, and 600 is not very much.
No, and that's the thing, is that's the stimulus, but there's, like, there's people, like, trying to do math. They're like, okay, it's $900 billion, and then they, like, everybody gets 600, but the biggest part of that $900 million is the COVID relief unemployment plan, which you get a lot more money through when you're signed up with that. If you're unable to work through the pandemic, you can sign up for this, and most of that money is going to that. $600 is a small portion of that. The pandemic relief unemployment It's like 200 and something a week for whoever signs up for it. So that's the rest of that $900 billion that these people don't know where it's going for whatever reason, but that's where it's going.
Yeah, and that's another thing too.
And that's part of the pandemic relief is the unemployment program. But that's the thing is if you're still like an essential worker and you're still employed, some of these people on this unemployment program are making more than these people that are still employed and still getting the stimulus check. So
yeah, so that's kind of the thing is Mitch McConnell was I mean, we had to deal with the stimulus plan that was totally effed up. I mean, this thing sucks. Like everything that we passed, has sucked.
The first stimulus was $1,200. It's a good chunk of money, but my mortgage is $1,200, and I was behind.
Right, and then you didn't get any more aid during this crisis, which was, I mean, come on, this could have been handled better. This is not your fault. I mean, that's obvious. We roll with the punches here, but at a certain point, if the government can help fix a problem they created, they should. And this is part of that. And if they can give a lot more money to, companies, big companies, and the small business loans, they can afford to give people money so that they can actually pay those businesses for their products and services.
Here's the thing is, I was very, very, very well monetarily compensated by the government this year. And what I'm saying is it should be the other way. I shouldn't have made as much money through COVID unemployment as I have because there are people, like I just said, that have been still working and they made less money than I did this year.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of the money I spent that came from the COVID unemployment, I spent on buying things for friends.
Yeah.
Because whether it be food, water filters, diapers, whatever.
Yeah.
A friend's house burned down. I donated her a bunch of money.
Yeah, man. So.
But also at the same time, it helped me pay my mortgage, my car insurance.
And listen,
it was a lot more than anyone got in a stimulus. So even I got the unfair side, and I feel guilty about it.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel guilty at all. See, everyone is going through something like that right now a little bit when you get stimulus money or you get benefits, extra unemployment benefits. These things are necessary right now. You shouldn't feel bad for being comfortable and being able to help others around you. In fact, that's the intended purpose of this.
It helped me, and it helped me help my friends.
Yes.
Which is great. It's great. But there's like the fact that I had to use this money to help others that were still working, and I wasn't working.
It sort of exposes the unfairness of
it's
of
unfair.
A lot of
I
things.
felt unfair.
It's
That's
not
why
just
I spent
that.
a lot of money on my friends.
It's
I
not
bought
just
them
that.
things.
It's the unfairness of the whole sort of system.
I kept a friend out of jail because he had no money.
Brain, you can't be responsible for everyone's sort of decisions, and you can't be all bent out of shape that they sent you a little bit of cash. That's the least they could do.
It was a lot of bit of cash, though.
Yeah, that's the least they could do. It's really... You used it to help yourself and others when other people use it to screw over other people and help themselves.
I guess you're right. I mean, I disagree with the amount of money they gave me, but I used it in a way to help everyone around me.
It's because you're not used to being
I'm not used to
treated
having
right
money.
by the government, dude. The government has always been fucking you over, and now they finally did something right. And people are going to really like this shit. People loved it. People loved getting money.
I helped everybody around me.
Yeah, no,
that needed
yeah,
it.
Of course. So that's kind of the thing, though, is when you give people money, a lot of good things happen. Not just a few good things, a lot of good things, because they pay for their bills and they give other people money so that they can do good things too.
Right.
These people that have a bad thing happen to them, like their house burns down or somebody tragically dies of COVID, like you can't be too generous with how much money you give in terms of to people directly. Like $2,000 is a fair probably amount for how long it's been since our last aid.
Yes, definitely, because everybody could use $2,000, whether it's to fix a headlight or to pay a gas bill or an electric bill.
Right, and now that Mitch McConnell can't block the legislation, now that they can just go ahead and put it up for a vote, I think you're going to get a lot of Republicans that are going to have to vote for it too. I mean, they're going to probably want to instinctively not vote for it because they don't want to give Joe Biden and the Democrats a win. But I think there's going to be a little bit less of that sort of, we have to defeat this guy, because Joe Biden is an old white man and Barack Obama was a young black guy that came out of nowhere and they were threatened by him. Joe Biden is one of their own.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I haven't followed everything as much as I should have. I obviously prefer Joe Biden over Mr. Trump. But I honestly, I don't know everything about Biden that maybe I should politically. But I really, honestly, at this point, don't think that matters, because there's even Trump's own Republican team is like, you need to get this guy out of here before America goes down.
Right. So that's where
We're
I come
at our
in.
most vulnerable point. Like, if somebody sent us a nuke, like, what are we going to do about it? Is the military still okay?
Yeah, actually, you know what? That might be a good thing to
Honestly,
segue to another topic
Okay,
here.
so I would trust so Trump's like, he's the commander-in-chief, right? Whoever's directly below him in the military, I trust that guy to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna, like, do that because you're a moron, you know? I feel like the leader of the military just below Trump is more... would be a better leader of the country right now.
So
Not than Biden, but
yeah.
like,
So
than Trump.
I believe you're talking about General Mark Milley, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and
Like,
he is in fact somebody that I respect and think
Right,
that
exactly.
is the adult in
So-
the room that
so
would
if-
say no,
Right,
Mr.
yeah,
President,
no,
we're
Mr.
not doing
President,
that.
we're not doing that.
Yeah, he would say
even
that.
if it got him put in jail, he would stop.
Well, it
something.
wouldn't get him put in jail, but yeah,
Right, yeah, but you know, I don't know these things.
right.
But you get what I'm saying. Yeah, I would trust that guy over this dude.
Right. Me
Put
too.
that guy as president.
So, here's the thing.
Just for 10 days or whatever it is before Biden's
You know
in.
what? You're making me realize that we are maybe like, I don't know, 10 days away. No,
Very
more like
vulnerable.
13. We're like 13
vulnerable right now.
13 days.
Our own country invaded our own country.
Yeah, and you know what? It was a bunch of fucking idiots.
Exactly.
And they were so lucky that they were
bunch
not
of
treated.
morons took over the capital of our country.
They're so lucky they
How
weren't
weak-
treated like
how
they
weak
as if
does
they
that
were
make us look?
if they were black.
If they can do it,
if they were black, how would they have been treated? Question mark.
Okay, so
Why were they just allowed to prance around in there?
When they anticipated the Black Lives Matter protests, they had like
military
guards all over the steps there.
Because of Trump.
They anticipated this protest.
No, because Trump personally took an interest
Yeah, but
in protecting against BLM. He thought he was threatened himself.
Okay,
Mr. Strongman,
whatever,
military strongman.
Whatever. Yeah. So he didn't feel threatened by the white people with all the guns?
No, those are his people. He says they're very special and we love them.
They're very special.
Very special.
And climbing around the Capitol building like a bunch of fucking monkeys.
Do you still have any friends who are like Trump supporters?
I have a close friend who actually I've never met. We text a lot, and I'm pretty sure she's a Trump person. But, you know, and we kind of get into it here and there, but we mostly decide not to talk about it because we're really good friends.
Right.
And when we're not talking about politics, it doesn't matter, you know.
Well, so yes.
She recently, she told me earlier today, everything you're saying to me is the liberal media and what they want you to think, and then she was just like, but I don't want to talk about politics. I was just at the dollar store, and I fucking love the dollar store. And I was like, I love the dollar store, too. So,
Look
like,
at that, the dollar store, bridging the divide.
the dollar store, yeah. Whether you're a poor Trump supporter or a poor Biden supporter or...
Whether you're Mexican or Muslim
you love the
or a
fucking
Trump
dollar
supporter,
store.
you go to the dollar store.
You go to the fucking dollar store.
So these people were allowed to prance around in there like it was no big deal, and I don't even know if they're serving any consequences right now. I would hope so.
I read something about the FBI wants to know anything they can know about any of the people.
They're going to be in some big ass trouble then. That's good.
Yeah, the FBI is investigating. They want to know
everything
right.
about everyone.
They're asking for information about like anyone that knows any information about anyone that was there.
Do you think Trump might be in some trouble for what happened?
Well, yeah, Trump's in trouble for a lot of things that happened.
I mean, like, did this go too far with this thing right here?
Yes,
recent thing?
Of course it went too far. You know, like, who are the snowflakes now, man? We didn't fucking try to stop all that shit from happening back in the day. Like, we could have done it.
They did a women's march, but they didn't march on the White House
too.
and, like,
liberals have
run
guns
in the White House
too.
Yeah.
Liberals and Democrats, we've got guns too. You're not the only one with guns.
Yeah.
We're just smarter than you.
Right. We don't need guns all the time to prove how big we are.
We don't need guns to pretend we've got bigger dicks.
Yeah. There you go. It's been a pretty wild ride.
Vote for Brain Mountain for president in 2030.
Oh yeah. So
something.
you're reminding me here. So I'm gonna open up the crystal ball segment here. Mohammed's crystal ball.
Oh, I like to look inside the future.
Yes. Okay. So here's the deal. Here's what I'm going to tell you right now.
What's the age of President? 35?
Yeah, you got to be 35.
I think the years are off. So when I turn 35, somebody else will have just been like voted president. So I'm going to have to wait until I'm like 42 or something.
39.
Well, maybe I did the math wrong, but like yeah. If you can do it in your head right now. I'm 32 right now. I just turned 32 in October.
39.
So 39.
You'll be 38, 39 when you run for president. Yep.
All right. So I'm running for president. So vote for Brain Mountain.
Right. So as your not financial, I'm sorry, as your presidential advisor,
I'm sure you would advise me not to say anything at all.
I would advise you to not say anything about running, but say something vague like you think that things need to be changed or something like that.
I think that things need to be changed, and I think I can help that happen.
Hell yeah.
So I'm not going to run for president. Don't vote for me.
So actually, you know what? That's working. I want to vote for you now. Anyway,
don't vote for me. I'm running for president. Don't vote for me.
So do you know who Stacey Abrams is? Stacey Abrams, who we're talking about right now.
That's his name?
No, Stacey Abrams, who will win, in my prediction, will win governor of Georgia in 2022 against Brian Kemp. She helped organize Democrats in the state to help elect Raphael Warnock, who
is that who I'm thinking
yeah,
of?
that was the man he's the pastor from the church that MLK used to be the pastor at.
That's the black guy, right?
Yes.
And his name is what?
Raphael Warnock.
Raphael Warnock. That is the greatest name.
Yeah, he's Reverend Raphael Warnock.
Reverend Raphael Warnock.
Right. So and then John Ossoff, who was the Democratic
John Ossoff.
Yeah. He's Jewish.
He's
young.
Okay. I was gonna say it sounds Russian, but no, it sounds Jewish.
Yeah, he's young. He's Jewish. He's a documentary filmmaker. And he and Raphael Warnock, a black pastor, are going to represent Georgia in the Senate.
Documentaries about red state. What though? What does he make documentaries about?
It was like Vice documentaries about like ISIS and stuff.
Oh, cool! All right.
Yeah,
I saw
serious stuff.
I saw a couple of those. There was like an American kid that got recruited by ISIS and then like tried to rebel and made his own faction, and then they killed him.
Yeah. Yeah, he was involved in some pretty serious filmmaking stuff going on with like that. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I really can't believe it. Georgia is a deep red state as soon as 4 years ago. Trump won it by 5 points or something, and all of a sudden now it's a blue state. Almost everything is blue. Arizona turning blue too. I think both those states will be lean Democratic states. That's another thing in the crystal ball. Put it in the book.
It's just crazy because like I never saw Trump as a Republican or a Democrat or any. I never saw him as a member of any party. You know,
He's always been a Republican.
But the Republicans, I'm just saying, I never saw him as a Republican. I just saw him as a fucking idiot, and the Republicans followed him because he wasn't on the other side. But I don't think that Trump was ever actually a Republican. I think he was just a crazy person.
Grifter.
What is that? A grift?
Somebody who fools everyone else into thinking that they have a plan.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly. Yeah, he might have ran as a Republican, but
he did have a plan. It didn't work.
I never
You know
saw
what
him
happened?
as a Republican. So like when all the Republicans were like so stuck to him, like, yeah, but this man isn't a Republican or a Democrat. He's just a fucking moron.
Yeah. So you know what the deal with that was is Trump did have a plan. His plan was to become president during a time of economic expansion, which the economy was doing really well when he became president, and simply preside over an economic expansion, and that would lead him to re-election. No matter what he did, people would say, oh, the economy's good.
But it didn't
The
work.
coronavirus happened, and it showed that he was woefully unprepared for things that are out of his grasp, things that are out of his forte, his forte of real estate or just
because he's a businessman.
TV.
He didn't even run as a Republican. He ran as a businessman.
No, he ran as a Republican.
He ran as a businessman.
He ran as a Republican.
He ran as a businessman.
There was an R next to his name when you vote for him.
Yeah, I know. I get that. The
Yeah.
R was there, but you can't see the quotes when I'm talking. I'm doing he ran as a businessman. He ran as a Republican, quote, 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 but he was actually a businessman. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care about Republicans or Democrats. He's just a piece of shit.
His plan was to win re-election. I mean, and then the coronavirus happened. It made him look really bad. He narrowly lost in the swing states, as I predicted.
He tried to say it was a conspiracy to get him to lose, and it's like, dude, it's a global pandemic.
He could have won the election if he had simply taken charge of the situation and done a good job responding. Yeah,
there's a chance that he could have changed my mind and made me vote for him.
I know, right?
If he had completely changed and taken the presidential position that he was already in, but he didn't.
All right, so two things here, real quick. So first off, the fact that the Democrats won the Senate, it's sort of it's a really big story that normally would be the story. But, this is not normal times, of course. But part of what happens because they win the Senate is that Bernie Sanders will become the Senate budget chairman. The chairman of the Senate Budget Committee.
He's on the board.
He's going to be the chairman of the budget.
Chairman.
And do you know what that means, Brain?
He's a budget chairman. That means get all the fucking billionaires and put them in the ground.
Yeah, and also he gets to write the budget that will be able to cut military spending.
Okay.
He's in charge of writing the budgets for military spending.
Well, that's cool. We can, but you can only cut it so much because it's
go slowly. Just cut a little out, carve a little bit out at a time. Yeah, but you know what? I would have nobody else rather. I would rather have no one else in this situation.
I think he's a good man for the job, but at the same time, the way America's past has gone and the way we've built up our military, including our budget, if you take away too much from that budget, somebody's going to launch something at us, and we're not going to be able to protect ourselves.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing.
That's the worst part about being an authoritarian country throughout the world is everybody hates you, and as soon as you take away from that budget, you got to do it incrementally and in ways that you can still protect the nation from all of its shit before you that everybody hates you for. You know what I mean? People want to kill us. That's why the military budget is so high.
Trying to stay on topic, Brain.
Everybody wants to kill us.
I'm trying to stay on topic. We're getting way off of the topic I want to be on, which is...
Just tell me to shut up. You've got that power.
Bernie Sanders is going to be Senate, but he's the ranking member on the committee for the budget.
And he's going to do a good job. I know it.
Right. I have full confidence in him to carve a little bit out of the military budget in a way that's fair and that won't cripple our military in any way.
Exactly.
It's very easy to take out the wasteful spending. There's things that Republicans have been doing for many years, and Democrats too, but lately Republicans have been in power, where they're giving money to their military contractor friends and shit, in these things. It's like insider dealing,
like weapons
and shit.
Developers and
there's
stuff
a lot
like
of
that.
waste. There's a lot of money going to things that we don't need.
If you're a weapons developer, you're going to make money off the fucking government anyway.
Right, like the troops they're not going to be affected by cutting military spending. It's going to be wasteful things like the certain jet programs and shit.
Okay. I'm fully confident that we will still be safe. I have this regretful view that reducing too much of our military budget will make us extremely vulnerable, and that's only due to our extremely violent and excessive past. You know what I mean? We've put so much into our military budget for the purpose of basically taking over the world, and if we cut too much from certain places, everyone's gonna come back, you know? When was the last time we had a war on American soil?
Well, here's something I gotta tell you really fast.
That's one thing Americans don't understand is we don't get bombed all the time.
Yeah, but we're getting off topic again, unfortunately. The thing I want to talk about is what Bernie specifically will bring to our government in terms
Bernie
of
Sanders.
Yeah, this is great news. I don't want to be
Bernie
talking about
Sanders.
how we were gonna get invaded. Like that's some risk shit. Like that's
We're gonna get invaded. But
yeah.
What's Bernie Sanders gonna do about it?
Well, the Republicans
I'm just
are
being a dick. I'm
right.
sorry.
The Republicans are going to say that it's cutting too much of the military. Like you're saying right now, we can't do this. It's going to make us unsafe. No matter how little he does.
I'm putting myself on the other side. I'm
Yeah.
giving you that challenge.
Oh yeah, well this is great then. So what I'm trying to tell you is that they're going to say this no matter how little he takes. He tries to carve out.
Oh, I know.
So be prepared for that. And then the other thing is that basically know that.
I'm also saying that they're right if you carve out too much. But there's a big chunk between what they think is too much and what is actually too much. But they're right in saying that if you cut out too much, we're fucked.
Right. So do you think that Donald Trump is going to face consequences in this situation? I mean, what do you think is going to happen here?
I don't know what I think is going to happen. I hope that he's prosecuted for all of his crimes. I know that the president cannot be, prosecuted, right, for, crimes. If the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
No,
But,
he can be.
Once he's out of office...
That's the thing is he's in office.
Is it easier once he's out of office?
Yeah. He literally was immune in office.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Once he's out of office, is he because
he's considering
okay,
pardoning himself. Have you heard about that?
is that even possible?
That's a question that legal scholars are still talking about, but I think the answer is no.
Pardon yourself? No, that's
I don't think,
stupid.
and you know the thing is you can't pardon yourself
allowing-
for a crime that you haven't yet been charged with, which is what he's trying to do.
Allowing a president to pardon themselves is
For a blanket pardon for everything they've ever done. Doesn't matter what it is.
Is
Yeah.
encouraging corruption.
Yes.
To allow a president blatantly oh, if you're the president, you can pardon yourself for anything you've ever done.
Right.
That's asking for corruption.
Yeah.
And there's no other way around it. That's asking for somebody to be corrupt. I can do anything I want and then pardon myself from everything I've ever done and anything I will do in the future. I hope he doesn't pardon himself, and if he does, I'm gonna
Well, if he
with a
even if he does
out of
pardon,
of a
hold
that
on,
my
you can't
finger
really say that.
the
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut that out. So, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say that he has been banned on Facebook until the end of his term, until he's not president anymore.
What about Twitter? They've got to ban him
They
from there.
have banned him on Twitter. He has to delete 3 posts that nobody has seen because they were flagged as misinformation. So he has to delete those 3 posts, and then he gets 12 hours he has to wait.
False. I won the election. I won the election. I won the election. Three posts flags as false.
I saw some news earlier that said that Facebook banned Trump and Twitter will allow Trump to continue tweeting after he deletes the things. And underneath it showed the stock prices of Facebook going up and Twitter going down. I'm serious. That was today.
So did you buy Facebook stock?
I have Facebook stock. I'm all set.
Okay, so you're good. You're good.
Yeah, no, it's good to
Sell
have
all
it.
your Twitter stock. Fuck Twitter, dude. If you have Twitter stock, sell it. Get
Yeah,
rid of it. It's
that's
useless.
right. No, actually, you know
Twitter's
what?
full of retarded people that jerk off to their own grandmas.
I think it probably is just a coincidence. But anyway, it was funny.
No.
It was funny.
Sell all your Twitter stocks.
Yeah, no, fuck that. Fuck Twitter. Fuck Parler, but they're not.
Everybody, if you own stock in Twitter, sell it and then go jerk off to your grandma.
Yeah, grandma jerking time. Okay, one more thing.
Okay, well, I'll just shut up and let you talk.
One more thing here. All right, this is here where we're coming to the last segment. Was Trump the worst president in the history of the USA?
I can't answer that honestly because I haven't been alive for the entire USA, but he was definitely the worst president of my lifetime. And before that, I thought no one could get worse than Bush.
Yeah,
But
I remember that.
he at least multiplied it by 100, Mr. Trump.
So 100 times worse than Bush,
Yes.
at least.
Even Bush said Trump is a horrible president, and Bush was a horrible fucking president.
I used to say when like in 2018 and 2019, I used to say if George Bush could become president again, I would give him a French kiss. You know, I'd give him tongue.
Oh yeah, I would put my tongue in his butthole.
Yeah, if he could just
and
become
then-
president
and-
instead of Trump.
Right, and then in his mouth hole. And then I'd give him a whole bunch of whiskey and tell him how to run the country, and I would be president instead of fucking Dick Cheney.
You really want to be president, don't you? I'm
going,
not sure I want to be president. I actually
I'm-
just heard, I read Obama's book, The Promised Land.
I'm going to be president.
Oh.
I don't want to be president, but I have to be president.
Okay, and obviously you're going to be a run as a Republican, right? It's much easier to win.
No, I'm gonna run as a communist,
Oh.
and I'm gonna win. It won't be a communist country. It'll just have a communist leader.
Oh. Okay. Well, we never discussed that. It's going to be awfully difficult to pull off, but maybe things will change in the next coming few years.
No, I'm gonna run as a Republican because
I think it would be a lot easier to win if you run as a Republican because their party is fractured. It has no leader other than Trump,
and
which
also-
is the worst leader you could possibly fucking have.
the best reason is I'm a communist, and the best way for a communist to gain power in America is to run as Republican.
Exactly. And with
And
that,
then when you become president, you switch sides and you make
that's right.
then you really make the country great again.
And with that, we say good night.
Listen to this, dudes.
Yes.
You are fake news. Bing, bing, bing. Don't be rude. Don't be rude.
And in the midst of this public health pandemic, we have a Donald Trump. He knew the deal about COVID. He had been informed that it can kill people, that it is 5 times as likely to kill as the flu. He knew it was airborne. He knew it could harm children.
Kamala. Senator Kamala Harris.
If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition,
Thank you,
they're
Senator
coming for you. If you are under the age of 26 on your parents' coverage, they're coming for you. If you love someone,
Senator